I'm cooked. I'm cooked a little bit here. The number one lesson from this week. It'd be cool if the Ironman YouTube series is all like how I'm crushing it, how I've mastered everything, but today I'm humbled a little bit. All right, what is going on, team? I am in the middle of what might end up becoming my biggest ride ever. I kind of thought I wasn't even going to make a video on this as part of the series because I kind of thought I was going to just roll into this ride and just ride it smooth and do big climbing and be controlled. And I just did this enormous climbing segment to get up to 10,000 feet here. This is Brainerd Lake. This ride that I'm doing today, it's got big mountain climbing, but then I've got to do like these repeat segments where I'm going back up. And as I was approaching this turn towards Brainerd Lake, which is like 5 more miles coming in, another 1,000 feet of gain, I've been working my ass off for like 3 hours. It's like I have all these thoughts in my mind to just go left, down to Ward, down the canyon. My mind is telling me, don't make the turn to come up to the big thing. Like, it's okay to take a break. And to me, it's like just winning these little split-second decisions of like, fuck it, man, just go to the right. Just make a right-hand turn. Just go do the thing you said you'd do. And to me, that's showing up today right now. That showed up yesterday. I got a chance to run with Zach Bitter. We ran in peak heat, and my heart rate was going wild. I told him I was going to run for 45 minutes, and at like 32, my mind is like, oh, I'd love to like tap out at 4 miles. We're running pretty quick. I'd like to do 4 miles. That'd be pretty easy, right? I'd get out of this thing, but then I'm like, I'd look like such a bitch. I'd look like a bitch to Zach. I'd feel like a bitch to me. There's a part of my mind that's like telling me to bail, to back out. And it's just winning these little split-second decisions to keep showing up and do the thing you say you do. And to me, that's like getting out of bed in the morning, jumping in on reading the Bible, jumping in on the creative work that I want to do, taking care of the training, showing up for my family. Like, it's these tiny little things. The big commitments seem super significant, but they're made up of these tiny moments where I just got to keep leaning in. And that's what I got going on. I feel very grateful to have made it here. I'm about to jump in this fucking lake. Let's go. There's a couple different things that have gone on in the past few days. I kind of made some mistakes on that showed up today and made this ride way harder than it needed to be. Number one is that I woke up this morning light. I woke up this morning 176.5 pounds, and I've been weighing more like 178.1, 178.2, and I had like that feeling of being a little hungry like the moment that I woke up. Ahead of a huge effort, like that means that I'm a little bit depleted. That means that I am not stocked up. Thing number two is that yesterday we ran at like 3 in the afternoon and it was so fucking hot. It was like almost 100 degrees. I chose to run in the afternoon. I was super dehydrated in that run, and I probably didn't do as good of a job as I could have after that run rehydrating. So now that's a second thing right now, and these things start to stack. And you start to realize, like, damn, man, it's kind of like a razor's edge to have these really big efforts go really well. Like, these feel like kind of minor things. Overall, like, still successful ride, successful effort related to the build, but felt like it would just be honest and truthful to get on here and be like, listen, I ain't just rolling through this build with no challenges. The number one lesson from this week is the value of fueling the night before. I got wrecked on my Thursday long mountain ride, and I realized it was because Wednesday night I was dehydrated and I didn't eat enough carbs. And the training session was like half good, half bad. I was able to pull wins out of it. But to me, the big L of my Thursday training session was that in the afternoon, I was like mush. I was useless in taking care of my kiddo, Jack. Fortunately, my wife was holding it down and I was able to be present, but like I was not engaged and I was just freaking zapped of energy.
And to me, like, that is not in line with my values. I gotta fix that. And so I had this long ride on Saturday, and I didn't bring the GoPro to any of these things because I didn't really think much of them. But it turns out they're like the biggest learning so far of this build. On Saturday, what went down? Well, let's start on Friday night. On Friday afternoon, I made sure I was hydrated big time. Electrolytes, I think I might have drank like 3 gallons of water on Friday. But more importantly, on Friday night, my wife Chelsea made some homemade pizza and I went to town. I ate early enough that I didn't go to bed like feeling like a fat fuck, but I felt like stocked up. And when I woke up on Saturday, I could feel that I was just more charged up than I was on Thursday. Had the exact same breakfast for the Saturday ride as I did the Thursday ride, and the Saturday ride was one of the best rides of my whole life. It was a foggy day here in Boulder, so the temps were pretty cool, but my legs were just like juiced. I ended up pumping like 220 average power for 3 hours, 225, 226 normalized power. Yeah, the power numbers were cool. Riding 22.5 miles an hour for 3 hours was super cool. But the real value was that I was full of energy as a dad the remainder of the day. Right after my training session, we did a family bike ride to the lake near us, and I had Jack on my shotgun seat of my gravel bike. We went to the pool as a family later in the day, and I even snuck in a swim and a lift during Jack's nap. And so to me, it's like the training sessions have clear data on how I did way better with fueling from Thursday to Saturday. But energetically, in the way that I'm showing up as the leader of my family, it's like, dude, night and freaking day. So lesson learned. We're learning in process here, and sometimes we are reminded of old lessons just to make sure that they ingrain themselves a little deeper in the process. That's what we got. Can you say hello, Jack?
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye?
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Okay, well, it is not bye-bye, it is hello. It is Monday morning here, and we are into week 9 weeks out in the Ironman World Champs build. And Monday today is a recovery day. Had a big week, 17 plus hours last week is what we ended up coming in at. And today is about getting a little extra sleep, doing a little bit of recovery maintenance on my body, on my bike. And I really like Mondays as a non-training day in an Ironman build because it lets me get ahead on my business for the week. So this morning, I've been doing a couple of calls, I've been doing a bunch of writing, mapping out how I can get ahead for the week. And then we will get right back to building. So that's what we're getting into right here. We're gonna do a little bit of bike cleaning. Jack, are we gonna clean the bike?
Yeah.
Yeah! All right, let's get right to it. Welcome to Wednesday morning training session. Today's training session is that I'm doing my first group ride here in Boulder in like 4 years. I got my roadie out here. I haven't ridden my roadie in like maybe 3 years. And to me, part of adding some flair to my training and getting involved in some group rides is, number one, exposing myself to people who are better than me and getting some skill development. And also just having a little bit of fun using time anchors. This is 6:30 in the morning here on Wednesday. I am probably not riding unless I'm doing this group ride. And so I'm going to be doing the tempo ride today. I got to run off the bike that I'm doing, so I got my shoes in the car. And we will see how this goes. Let's go. All right, group ride complete. The group ride wraps up at the coffee shop nearby, but we got this run off the bike we're about to do. So we got the traveling aid station here in the car, And one of the things that I'm working on right now is training my gut to run on kind of a full bladder, kind of a full load. And so right now I'm just taking down, I just got electrolytes in here, but I'm taking down close to 30 ounces of water before I take off on this run. And part of that is just training the digestive system, training the gut to not freak out if we got a lot coming in and we're just getting off the bike and looking to go run. So that is what we got going on right here. Let's get this run. All right, so run prescription today, brick workout, getting prepped up for this sprint try. I got a 20-minute run, and the first half mile is race pace, and then the remainder is just cruising zone 2. So for me, getting to some neighborhood roads over here in North Boulder, and I think race pace might be around 6:15 for me. I'm not totally sure what I can rip a 5K in, but we are gonna let that fly, and then we will wrap this thing up. Here we go. Boom. All right, that is a wrap on today's training. And I got a couple lessons on bricks, runs off the bike, that I got to share with you guys. I've got the 3 keys to brick training. We're going to go through that in a second. But I am also going to give you my 2 secret brick training sessions that will make you a better runner off the bike in an instant. And I'm also going to sprinkle in the #1 beginner mistake that I see when it comes to brick training so that you can avoid this in your own process. So let's get into it. The 3 keys to bricks. How do you want to think about this? #1 is that we got to realize we are training the movement of being able to run off the bike. We're not just looking to learn how to grind harder. We are looking to teach the body how to put out run power after being on the bike for potentially multiple hours. And some of these training sessions are gonna do that, so we'll get to that in a second. But let's get through this list first. All right, now for #2 here, fuel the effort, I got an athlete example that illustrates this really well with a really key mistake that we course corrected that changed everything. So I had an athlete training for his first 70.3, and we're getting up to 3-hour rides with 30-minute runs off the bike, like really big sessions ahead of a race. And this athlete's telling me, he's like, dude, all of these runs are a freaking grind. I think I gotta run more. So I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I think I gotta run for an hour. I think I gotta run for 90 minutes off the bike. Like, running for 30 minutes, I don't think it's giving me enough. And when we pried into the process a little bit more, we saw a huge gap on fueling that was making all those runs a grind. This athlete was having these 3-hour rides, but we realized that he was fueling really well for the first 2 hours, but then he'd get to that last hour and he'd kind of mail it in. He'd kind of be like, hey, I'm wrapping up the ride, could kind of take it easy on the fuel. Well, all of a sudden, all the runs are a freaking grind. So all of a sudden we started fueling better in that final hour of the bike, and what do you know? Boom. All the runs become way smoother off the bike. Now, #3 here, and this is the real secret, and this leads into the #1 mistake that I see beginners make, is that we want to get better form in bike and run, and we can do that separately. Now, here's the beginner mistake and how it's opposite of that. I see a lot of beginners, I've even seen some guys where it's like they're training for their first race and they know they got to run off the bike. So every run they're doing is off the bike. And might seem like a good idea, but what I observe is that means that every run you're doing is fatigued. So every time you're going to run, your body's like already run down, already tired. And if you've got poor movement patterns, if you're a beginner, you're probably not a super efficient runner, every run is just re-ingraining those tired, sloppy movements. And so your efficiency is totally out the window and you're just setting yourself up to grind like way harder than you need to. Now, getting better form in bike and run separately, what does that look like? That looks like doing bike drills, learning how to get really efficient with your pedal strokes so that you're not wasting any energy on the bike. And so when you go into the run, your body's more charged up. You're not that worn down. Then all of a sudden we think about getting better as a runner. Well, if you've got really good run mechanics
and you've trained the body, right, to do the movement neuromuscularly, well, now all of a sudden, you've got this ability to unlock good form and move really efficiently where you're not just wasting a lot of energy. That's the huge beginner mistake, is just so much wasted energy and then usually not giving the body the energy that it needs. Now, let's get into the training sessions that will unlock your ability to run off the bike. The first is the triple brick. This is my favorite first brick workout to give any of my new athletes. It is 3 rounds of 30 minutes on the bike and then 10-minute run. So you do 30-minute bike, 10-minute run, and then you just go back to that 2 more times. So you're like overriding and you're giving the body this like super high touch change of movement pattern, and you're letting it learn, oh, okay, well now I got to use these muscles on the bike. Now I got to use these muscles on the run. And you're giving your body a chance to just learn how to do this in a really short, like overstimulus. The second workout that's kind of along those same lines of overstimulus is doing a really hard half mile right off the bike. And the reason that this is valuable is that most often guys will have better run mechanics when they are running faster. And so if we can use fast running to drill down good form, that can again train the movement of running off the bike. And so what I will train guys to do and give them the workout of is it's like hard half mile and then, finish just 20 minutes easy or 30 minutes zone 2, something like that, where that first half mile is that overriding of the stimulus, and it's teaching the body to ingrain these movement patterns of getting better form and more efficiency across bike and run, rather than just looking to grind through long runs and figure out how to run off the bike by just running off the bike every single time. All right. Now, as for that group ride, I really like that. That was really fun. I mentioned I haven't ridden my roadie in like 3 years, and it was really fun to be riding in the group, riding in the Peloton, and you got to keep your freaking head on a swivel the whole time. Like, I'm making sure that I'm not drifting into the lane where there are cars, but I'm also making sure that I'm not getting too close to back wheels and other riders. So it's like constant triggering on the fingers, constant focus on bike handling, constant awareness. And it's cool in the Peloton, like the Peloton moves fast, and I took a leak right before we started, and so I had to surge up a little bit to catch them at the start. And then a couple other times, it was pretty mellow, the overall ride. It was a little tempo effort, but nothing crazy. But you can totally feel that if you drift back and you get out of the Peloton, like you got to surge up and you got to put in some work to go catch up to the pack, and then you can kind of settle back in. And so on my training today, the real focus was getting some slightly higher intensity short efforts ahead of this race that I've got, this sprint tri. And so even though this wasn't like, perfectly measured power, like I don't even have a power meter on my road bike, the idea of still putting out some short surges, working on my tactics on the bike, like I still got all that today. In a cool new environment with the group that I had not done. I did this ride once back in 2021 before Chelsea and I moved out to Boulder. We were here on a month-long trip in an Airbnb that ended up being the thing that moved us out here. But we did this once and we got dropped. I think we might have done, I don't know if it was the tempo ride or the threshold ride. This group ride has like 6 different ride options. There's threshold, tempo, endurance, road, and then also all 3 of those options for gravel. And so I did tempo, road. In the future, I'd like to do threshold for sure. We did kind of a flat route today. It was raining when we got out to some of the flats. And so all of a sudden, like, rain's coming down, water's spitting everywhere. We're going fast as a group. We're going 25, 30 miles an hour at times. And so good overall, just training and development, right along my vision of just being well-rounded, the all-terrain athlete capable of jumping into any endurance environment and holding my own, having my skills from other sports or other styles of sport transfer over to whatever I'm doing. So feeling good, about to go grab some coffee and then head home. Peace.
All right, so one of the most valuable hacks that I've learned as an endurance athlete who is also a father and a husband is that it is really valuable to make sure that my wife knows she's super appreciated when she is handling a little bit more of home life when I am out training. So this morning, I'm out the door at like 6, which means that she handled Jack duty, wake up, breakfast, getting him out the door to the nanny. And so I am a big fan of picking up some treats if I'm out and about at a coffee shop or if there's somewhere I can stop on my way home. And right now, today's ride was in North Boulder, and this Lucky's Bake Shop here in North Boulder is one of her favorite spots. They got this Sunshine Canyon muffin that she absolutely loves. And so bringing her back a little surprise is just a great way to make sure that there is harmony in the home when I'm fitting this all together as a husband, as a dad, as a business owner, right? Different things are requiring different forms of support, and my wife really makes it happen for me to be able to do a lot of this stuff. So that's what we got. Nitro cold brew for me. Let's get back home.